Hello everyone out there, welcome back to Chinmoy's Biology channel. So today we are starting a new episode of menstrual cycle. So this is a part of your human reproductive system. So hope you all have gone through the previous two episodes of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So if you have not yet gone through those two parts, I'll be putting the link in the description box. So without wasting our time, let's get started with menstrual cycle. And please don't skip the lesson in between because throughout the lesson I'll be teaching you many important concepts with this menstrual cycle. So these are the things we are going to study today. So what are the things? We are going to study about menarche. We are going to study about the stages of menstrual cycle, that is the follicular phase and the luteal phase. We will be studying about the effect of hormones in menstrual cycle, both the ovarian hormones as well as the pituitary hormones we will be dealing with, and we will study about menopause. So we should know all these things in details and I'll be discussing it throughout the video. So don't skip my video. Please do subscribe my channel so that you can get more interesting topics which are as per your CBSE curriculum, and share it with your friends. And if you are liking my video, please do like and comment in my comment box. Okay, so let's get started. So what is menstrual cycle? So as we can say, we have told that we will be dealing with this. So menstrual cycle is the reproductive cycle in female primates, that is monkeys, apes and human beings, is called the menstrual cycle. Okay, so the first menstruation begins at puberty and is called menarche. So what is menarche? The beginning of this reproductive cycle in female, it is called the menarche. And it begins at puberty. Okay, in human females, menstruation is repeated at an average interval of 28 to 29 days, and the cycle of events starting from one menstruation till the next one is called the menstrual cycle. Okay, so this full cycle from one menstruation till the next one is called the menstrual cycle. So what is happening? So one ovum is released in ovulation during the middle of the cycle. So that only we will see during, this is the diagrammatic representation of this menstrual cycle. We will go through it and it is very easy to remember through this diagram. But let us first read what is menstrual cycle and understand that. So one ovum is released per menstrual cycle. And what are the major events which are happening? The major events of menstrual cycle are shown in figure 2.9. We will see this obviously. So the cycle starts with the menstrual phase. Okay, when the menstrual flow occurs and it lasts for 3 to 5 days. So first, the starting of the menstrual flow, that is from 1 to 5 days. This is the menstrual phase or menstruation is happening. That is, bleeding happens and these are called menses, right? So this lasts for 3 to 5 days. Now, the menstrual flow results due to the breakdown of the endometrial lining. So, this is the endometrial lining. The endometrial lining will break down, and we can say that this ovarian endometrial lining will break down, and its blood vessels also, which forms the liquid which comes out through the vagina. So blood vessels as well as the endometrial lining, both of them break down and they cause this menstruation, and these menses, they are coming in form of blood, right? So liquid is the blood. Now, menstruation only occurs if the released ovum is not fertilized. So, what does this mean? Fertilization, we will be reading in the next video, in the next class, fertilization and implantation. But now you understand that when the ovum is not fertilized, it means that when the sperm is not coming and uniting with the ovum, then only this menstruation or the bleeding or the rupture of this endometrial lining will happen, or else the ovum will fuse with the sperm and no menstruation or menstrual bleeding will happen. Okay, so lack of menstruation may be an indicator of pregnancy, that if a person is pregnant, they will not have menstruation, but there are several other causes underlying, like poor health, stress, etc. They can also stop the menstruation process, because then your body is not in a good condition, your hormones are not working properly. So this is all a hormone based process, right? If the hormones in your body are not working properly, they will cause a stop or a pause in this menstruation process. So do you understand this? Okay, please try to understand it properly. Now the menstrual phase is followed by a follicular phase. Now first we can see that menstruation or menses are coming out of the vagina. Then it is followed up from the 6th day. It is followed up till the 15th day. This is the follicular phase, or the follicles are maturing. This is the proliferating phase. Here you can see above, once this menstruation has happened, the follicles start maturing, and once they are fully matured, the follicles rupture. So this is the ovum. Ovulation has happened, right? Okay, so at this 14th or 15th day, in the middle of the cycle, the ovulation happens, right? So now what is happening? During this follicular phase, the primary follicles in the ovary grow to become a fully mature Graafian follicle, and simultaneously the endometrium of the uterus regenerates through the proliferation. So regenerating means it already degenerated during the menstrual phase. So it went out through the vagina in the form of menses, and it was actually degenerated. Now again its regeneration should happen. So regenerating happens in this proliferative phase, or when the Graafian follicle is matured or getting matured. Now these changes in the ovary and the uterus are induced by the changes in the level of pituitary and the ovarian hormones. Okay, so this regeneration of the uterus lining, endometrium, and the development of primary follicle into Graafian follicle, it's due to the pituitary and ovarian hormone. So let us see what is happening here. Now you can see during this follicle maturation, this pituitary hormone LH and follicle stimulating hormone level, it rises when there is ovulation, that is the rupture of this mature follicle and coming out of the ovum. So then the LH and the FSH surge is happening. Then estrogen surge is also happening. This is the ovarian hormone. And this estrogen, during this time, the progesterone is at the base level. There is no rise in progesterone hormone. Only estrogen, LH and FSH, these three hormones are at its surge. Now, when this ovulation is happening, after ovulation only, during the luteal phase or the development of the corpus luteum, then the progesterone hormone is at its spike. So it will increase. You can see that progesterone is at its spike and the estrogen hormone will come down. And both the LH and the FSH are normally secreted. They are not at its spike level. Okay. So this is happening. Now we will see here what is happening. The secretion of the gonadotropins, that is LH and FSH, that is luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, they increase gradually during the follicular phase and stimulates the follicular development as well as the secretion of estrogens by the growing follicles. Okay. So they are gradually increasing during this phase. The follicles are developing in the presence of LH and follicle stimulating hormone, and as well as the secretion of estrogens from the growing follicles is also high. So both the luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone attain their peak level in the middle of the cycle at about 14th day. Okay, so here we can see in this diagram at the 14th day, LH and FSH, gonadotropic hormones, they are at its peak level. Okay, so as they are at its peak level, this hormone estrogen is also at its peak level. Now, rapid secretion of LH leading to the maximum level during the mid-cycle surge, LH surge induces the rupture of Graafian follicle and thereby releases the ovum. So thus ovulation happened. Okay, so now after ovulation we should see the ovulatory phase and the luteal phase. So now we are going to move on to the after ovulation phases. So till now we have seen the development or the maturing of the follicle and the development of the fully developed Graafian follicle, and due to LH surge, the rupture and the ovulation. So now we will see the process which is happening after the ovulation. Okay. So ovulation has already happened. So we are moving towards the process which is happening after ovulation. So the ovulation or the ovulatory phase is followed by the luteal phase, during which the remaining parts of the Graafian follicle transform as corpus luteum. Okay, so the corpus luteum secretes large amount of progesterone, which is essential for the maintenance of endometrium. So the endometrium was formed during the proliferative phase, and the endometrium should not rupture again. For that, progesterone hormone should be there in large amounts. Okay, such an endometrium is necessary for the implantation of the fertilized ovum and other events of pregnancy. Okay, so now here we can see that progesterone hormone is secreted in large amount. Why? Because this growth of this endometrium is very much important. This maintaining of this endometrium is important, because as the ovum has been secreted, if this ovum is getting fertilized, then that fertilized egg or zygote will be implanted in this this part of uterus, and for that only this lining is made proper, so that the implantation of the ovum and the sperm, when they are fused together to form a zygote, is happening properly, right? So this is developing corpus luteum. This developing corpus luteum is helping the progesterone hormone to be secreted in large amount. And then what is happening? Then if it is a zygote is formed and it is getting implanted in this part, then implantation of the fertilized ovum, when it is happening during pregnancy, all events of menstrual cycle will stop and there is no menstruation. So progesterone hormone is at its height, no menstruation will happen, and in the absence of fertilization, the corpus luteum degenerates. So if no sperm is coming and uniting, corpus luteum will degenerate, and this will cause the disintegration of endometrium, leading to menstruation, marking a new cycle. Okay, now if no sperm is coming and getting implanted, then again this corpus luteum will regressing of the corpus luteum will happen, which in turn will release help in the release of estrogen, again which will cause the endometrial lining to degenerate, and thus again at the 28th or 29th day of the cycle, again menstruation will start happening, right? So in human beings, the menstrual cycle ceases around 50 years of age. So a female who is 50 years of age, she will not have her menstruation, because that is termed as menopause. When the cyclic menstruation is an indicator of normal reproductive phase, and it extends from menarche to menopause, right? In 50 years, when a person is reaching menopause, then the hormones, because the ovary starts shrinking and the hormone levels also start falling in their body, so there is no menstruation in them and the reproductive cycle has stopped. And this phase, the reproductive phase of a human female, is from the menarche till the menopause. So it starts from the puberty and ends at the age of almost 50 years. So this 50 years may vary. In some it is 45, in some it is 42, and some may go beyond 50 also. So it depends on the health of your ovary, that it will stay beyond 50 or it will stop at 45, 40 or nearby. But the average age is 50 years. So from puberty till 50 years, there is nearly a 40 years reproductive phase in a female life. So this is all for your menstrual cycle, what we have discussed today. In the next episode, we will be discussing about fertilization and implantation. So let us just go through this menstrual hygiene, maintenance of hygiene and sanitation. During menstruation is very important, and take bath and clean yourself regularly. Use sanitary napkins of clean homemade pads. Change the sanitary pads at every interval of 4 to 5 hours or as per requirement. Dispose the sanitary napkins properly wrapped in paper. Do not throw them or flash them in the drain pipe of the toilets or in open area. After handling the napkin, wash your hands with soap. So this is what is a proper menstrual hygiene should be maintained by each and every woman. And I think you have understood this full menstrual cycle in details with the hormonal changes. And please learn this diagram properly, and this is very important diagram. If you learn this diagram, it will be easier for you to understand this full phase and to explain in details the full phase. Okay, so here are the days of menstrual cycle, and here we have seen the uterine events, ovarian hormone levels, ovarian events, and the pituitary hormone levels. So just go through this diagram properly, draw it, write it down in your notebook, and learn it properly. So this is all for today's episode. Next day, next class, we will be studying about fertilization and implantation. So still then, stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and go through this lesson once again. If you are having any queries, any doubts, write in my comment box so that I can get back to you with the answers. And you need to subscribe to my channel so that you will be getting the updates when I am teaching you this next lesson, fertilization and implantation. So there are more interesting lessons on the way to come. So stay tuned, stay updated with all my lessons. Thank you.